Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. I want to welcome myself back, okay, to Wake Up Legendary. And how am I looking? It looks like there's a little delay here, but am I looking good? We're obviously trying out some new audio and or video equipment. Am I looking good? No delay. Good. Okay, Matt says good. Hey, my friends, I made it back. I made it back. I made it another year, another trip around the sun. I get to take another trip around the sun. And there's no crew that I'd rather do it with than y'all. And so we're going to be doing what we always do. This morning, we've got a volleyball coach, which I am so excited to talk to because believe it or not, Johnny, welcome to the show. I played volleyball in middle school, and I wasn't that bad at it. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, got to start somewhere, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I mean, we all do. I remember being new in volleyball. I think I started in sixth grade, maybe right when I went into to middle school, and I remember wearing the big knee pads because we played in our school gymnasium. So I wore the big, and I was a little embarrassed by those. I thought, God, these are not the coolest things to be. These are not the coolest sports equipment in the world, but I grinded it out anyways.
Yeah. They've definitely changed over the years, so they're a lot slimmer and not so huge now.
Yeah,
So
I remember them being these big, almost a pillow on your knees, and I thought,
exactly.
"Man, this is not cool." So anyways, man, welcome, and where are you calling in from? Are you a full-time, and I assume where you're calling in from, you're a full-time teacher slash volleyball coach? Is that the
So
no?
actually, that's where I was. I'm actually full-time billing consultant for a startup
Okay,
insurance company, but I'm here in the U.S. in Chattanooga,
okay,
Tennessee.
okay. And where are you from? You're from Canada?
No, I'm from Virginia, but
Oh, okay.
have been in Tennessee for about 16 years now.
Okay. Gotcha. Cool, man. Well, what brought you and made you want to do this whole online marketing thing with us? What attracted somebody who, um, sounds like a pretty decent career that you have there? Not anything to be, too ashamed of, anyway, of course. And the money I would assume is not that bad. Do you have a college degree as well?
I do, yes.
Okay. So tell us what brought you online. What are you looking for? What were you looking for? What started this whole thing?
Yeah, so back when I was finishing up college in early 2000s, um, I decided I was going to switch my major and switch it again, and some of that was just because I got a hold of some Jim Rohn teachings,
Yeah,
if you know him, and
of
just the
course.
idea of creating a life and what does that look like. And so I dabbled in a little bit of network marketing and direct
Mhm.
sales, and then I decided I was going to start a blog. So it's like that's how you got to do it, right? Start
Mm,
a blog and make money that way. So I worked on that for a couple years, enjoyed it, but never had anything to sell. So how do you
yeah.
profit if you don't have anything to sell? But it's a good learning experience. And then since I had done the website, was just trying to figure out, I don't want to be in this insurance role forever. It's not my, ideal dream job. Pays the bills and everything. But how can I leverage my time? Um, because my wife and I have a 1-year-old son, and so I didn't have a lot of extra time
Mhm.
to figure things out. So, I did some online tutoring that was successful. And then I came across a video on Facebook Reels back in May. And it was about the Business Builder Challenge. And, watched, clicked on it, watched the video, immediately signed up and started, the training the next day because said, why not? I've tried lots of things
Yeah.
before. So,
So, how was this different? How was this experience, or how has this experience, both the training and now executing, been different than other side hustles or ventures that you may have tried in the past, businesses, et cetera?
Yeah.
Not obviously very different than your job as a
Right.
consultant, I would think. But it's interesting. Maybe we can talk about the difference between the consulting that you're doing and the consulting that maybe you could do as a as a business owner on your own. But first and foremost, how is this different than other ventures? There may be some network marketers or some Amazoners or whatever that
Right.
are listening, wondering, hey, I've tried a lot of things, I need something to work. How is this different, or what might I expect that's going to be different? So what's your experience with the contrast?
Yeah, I mean, I think something that stands out the most, it's just the training that you receive in actually being able to take action a lot faster than some other things that I've been a part of.
Mm,
I'd even say your entry point is really low. Like it's not a huge, I'm going to do all of these things and I got to go to business loan and get all this set up and ready to go.
yeah,
It's a more simple path, I think, to get started. Then the training is just unlike any other training I found. And I'll even say, like, when I go live, like, look, you can find training for free on YouTube or wherever you want to go. You can find it, but you're going to spend how much more of your time trying to find the training? You're going to get all these different opinions and
yeah,
do it this way or that way. So why not just focus in and zone and just kind of hone in on just do this,
yeah.
you know? So I think that it just made it easy to get started and simple. And that's why I said, why would I try to keep figuring out blogging on my own,
Yeah.
when that's a
And
pretty tough thing.
you're right. If a lot of times I would imagine for people who are trying to learn these skills just kind of out there on in YouTube land and stuff, it would be sort of like taking a class at 10 or 20 different universities and trying to make
Exactly.
it all make sense. And it's not
Exactly.
particularly that I've ever even said, hey, everybody out there is an idiot. I don't think everybody out there is an idiot. I think there's some people that got some really valuable things to say out there.
Right.
And if you want to take that particular person seriously and you want to learn from them and learn whatever they have to teach or whatever they're doing, then my recommendation is the same. If you're going to come here and learn, it's go all in, fully immerse yourself, and don't just take one class and stand around and scratch your head and wonder why it all doesn't make sense.
Right.
It's the same thing. Sort of the same rule applies to, we can't get mad about the results that we aren't getting from the work we're not doing. It's like this entrepreneurship in building a successful business is as much about simplifying things, putting on the blinders, and actually, if you take the 15-day challenge, for example, actually finishing it,
Hmm.
and that's a good measuring stick for where your level of like commitment or discipline or your stick to itiveness, like your ability to follow through. I'll ask everybody who's listening right now, anybody relate to starting stuff and not following through or not finishing? How many unfinished projects do you have in your life right now? How many unfinished businesses that you started, but the truth is you didn't give it your all? I mean, sure, it may have not been the best of there's a million things we could pick apart about every company or product or business or person, mentor. But the truth is, and this is what I think is so freeing and why people start to finally get results in their business or in their life, is they take that full ownership that, hey, this is the common denominator and all my failures are me.
Right.
And so I need to, it was kind of like that realization that I had to have when I walked into a drug treatment center and then eventually a 12-step meeting. And I was blaming everybody in 2004 and 5 when I first got introduced to recovery, and then 2008 when I finally got clean. And the only reason why I got clean was because I started to actually realize I thought it was a complex, a complex formula. I couldn't figure out my life. Why was it, I always self-sabotaging. And it was like, well, because I'm not taking ownership. I'm not following through with things that I start, so I don't feel good or positive, and I'm not getting results. And I give up too soon. I quit too soon. And so how has this experience been different for you on the inside? The training's been better and more thorough. How is your commitment or your approach now different than other ventures you've had in the past?
So I think for me, it's been more of just actually putting those blinders on, and just saying, for 90 days, what can I do? What can happen? Not worrying too much about what the results will actually be, but just that idea of, trying to gain traction and some momentum, if you will, and being consistent. I
Mm.
think this is just for me, it's the first venture other than maybe some tutoring I did online where if I didn't show up I'd be fired, so you kind of had to. It still felt like a job, but in terms of a business venture that I'm being consistent
Mm.
at, and I'm
Yep.
being consistent in my life and what fits me in terms of how I want to do it,
Yeah.
because I'm not going to be out there, posting 4 or 5 times a day, whether you think that's what you need to be successful or not. I don't
Yeah.
have the time, or I would say long-term capacity to do that. So I think it's just a matter of, if you're going to do it, like exactly like you said, like, why wouldn't you do the 15 days? um, you won't know what you need to know until you just do it. And I think, sometimes maybe people get a little bit too in their head, where they're thinking, well, I have to have it exactly right and know exactly what the end is before the beginning. And that's
Yeah.
because I think that way a lot. And I just have to tell myself, no, all you have to do is just take the step forward that you have right now. So
Yeah.
you wanted to post something at 8 a.m. and you didn't. Can you do it right now? Can you do it tonight?
Yeah.
Like, there's simple things that you can do consistently on a daily basis that, for me, were sim- simple and easier to do than what I in other business ventures that I had. You
Yep.
know, so I think that's what makes it easier.
Making
It's
a
a lot more
list,
simple.
calling him
Right.
twice, gonna
Right.
find out who's naughty or nice. I mean, like,
Exactly.
yeah, I'm not Santa Claus here. I don't want to make a list of
Right.
my friends and family and, hawk them my,
Right.
lotions, potions, and pills. I mean, yeah, no, that's a hard thing to do. I mean, I keep these business cards here close to my desk. It's sort of like the ball and chain that I finally cut.
Yeah.
By the way, fellas, your wife is not the ball and chain. You are, and the bullshit that you're wasting your time with. That's what I learned. I learned that my wife, my kids, all this other stuff were not the ball and chain in my business. It was the things that I was doing that was causing me misery and stress and not producing any results. And it was really, it was a combination of my bad habits, but also bad strategies. And the bad strategies was, we were talking about doing things, they're a little bit simpler to do here. Much of that is because you can just kind of do it at home or do it wherever you want, so you don't have to get all dressed up and go out and shake hands and kiss babies and try to pretend that you're something that you're not. I mean, for me, that was what MLM was like. For me, I had to try to
Yeah.
pretend like what I did was, first of all, this is just business cards that I finally started collecting because I couldn't afford to print anymore. You know, even though they were free, I still had to pay for the shipping because I was just passing out business cards, but I wasn't generating any money from it. So then I started collecting people's, but I'm like, oh, I got it figured out now, and I did. This didn't work either, but it put me a step closer to when I finally came online and saw these cats out here on the internet collecting email addresses. I said, well, that sure is hell a lot better than what I'm doing over here collecting business cards, you know? So it made sense. Sometimes the bad strategies, we have to do them in order to know when a strategy is like, oh, this is good. So how do you give yourself a break? How do you not beat yourself up for past what you would consider failures, or when things don't go the way you want them to go now?
I mean, I didn't come up with this phrase, but I've heard it said before, and I like people say we often can kind of we overestimate what we think we'll accomplish in 30,
Mhm.
60, 90 days, but we grossly underestimate what we can actually accomplish if we do it longer, for a
Yeah.
year or more. And so for me, it's just been, I think it's been more of like if you're going to do something that's different than what you've done before, don't you can't spend any time like beating yourself up about what you did that didn't work. You can learn
Yeah.
from it because it's all part of shaping who you are as an individual and who you are as a person. Because there's great things, I believe you can learn a lot in any venture or job that you're in that you can take, with you, and you can know what to take and what not to take, and it's yours to choose what you bring along with you to the next phase or what you put down. So
Yeah.
you have to make that choice in terms of what that is. So for me, it was just a matter of fail forward, if you want to use that expression. Sure, I'm failing forward. I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm making changes in myself and how to actually do business online and how to be a better, husband, better father, better friend. So it's all things that I've learned. So why beat myself up just because it didn't succeed the way I wanted to? And maybe it was the path I needed to be on. Maybe that was the step that if I didn't take that, I wouldn't be where I am today. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something a little
It's a
more.
great it's a great way to look at things. And I wanted to put the quote that you had actually
Yeah.
just said up on the screen so people could actually kind of read that and take that in, take a screenshot of it, write it down, take a picture of it with your phone. Again, it is not, Johnny, you didn't come up with this
Right.
quote, nor did I, and nor did I really come up with really anything, come to think about it, nor did anybody else that's living really in this era. We all are standing on the shoulders of giants in every industry and everything that we're doing, and it makes us more successful when we acknowledge that, instead of acting like we are God.
Right.
Um, but this is so true, man. This is a great little piece of wisdom to marinate on. Most people overestimate what, or underestimate, well, the way that you have it written, overestimate what they can accomplish in 3 to 4 months, and vastly underestimate what they can achieve in 3 to 4 years, being it for the long term and long game. And it's so true, isn't it? On a practical level, we start with, whatever this challenge, say, for example, we might sit around and see some people making some videos or whatever. But how many of us sit on things and just takes months to make a decision, to even spend $7 to go through a course?
Hmm.
But then once we get started, it's like, what, a week later, we went through half of the challenge, buzz through this, buzz through that, posted a couple of videos on TikTok or whatever, in whatever niche we're in or whatever product we're promoting. And we're like, why isn't this working? And it's like, well, it took you 6 months to make a decision, and then
Yeah.
you've only posted. I see people, and I don't. There's no judgment in my mind, but it's like I feel that pain, because after now having recorded, and I saw somebody post in the comments, similar comment just a second ago. I'm having a problem making videos, or I've posted 5 videos and none of them are taken off or whatever. And it's like, I feel your pain, because I just posted my 5,000th video and it didn't take off. You know what I mean? I mean,
Right.
it's like that kind of that it never goes away. It's just a part of the business. It's just a
Exactly.
part of the game. It's like being a baseball player and going up to the plate, and you just started playing baseball. You struck out every single at bat in your first game, and you're like, I'm a failure. I'm never gonna do. And every baseball player in the entire world is going, it's your first game, dude.
Right.
It's your first game. I've played thousands of games, and I'm still only have a batting average of 175, which means I hit just over 1 out of every 10, and that's good.
Yep, it's great. No, it's exactly right. I was thinking, when I coached volleyball, of course we focused in on the season that we had, that's right in front of us, but it was always about the long game. Where do we want to finish in the conference? Do we want to make the national tournament? What is it going to take to get there? And that's usually a longer plan. That's usually a 3+ year plan. And so I think just if I could encourage anybody that's out there listening, it's just, when I say think, long term, I don't mean that you have to be committed to this exact thing and never move off of that for 3 to 4 years. I just think, like, if you see that glimpse of what somebody's success looks like and it looks like it's really fast, like Dave just said, it might have been 6 months of some sort of prep and you're seeing
Yeah.
the fruit of it, or it's just an anomaly. It's like some people, it's the exception,
You
it's not the
never get the
rule.
full story. You never get the full
Never.
story, and that's what's important to understand, is that your life and how it feels and how it's hard and how it's scary, we all are having that same experience. That's like, and I had this kind of crazy, like, realization as I was walking through the airport, and everybody, we were in a line trying to get through customs, and and there's hundreds of people, and I just had this moment, like, each of these people has a micro life, like but it feels huge to them. But in this group of people, it's just, it's a speck of sand. We all are a speck of sand. But it feels so big and real, and like we're the only one that's going through it. But what is one of the most empowering, and I think supportive things that I ever learned, and it helped me get clean, was that other people were struggling in the same way. Hallelujah. Holy shit. I'm not
Yep.
the only one feeling what I'm feeling. And I'm looking
Yep.
over there, and I'm looking over there, and they're getting through it. And then I had a realization, there's nothing I can go through that somebody else hasn't already been through who can help me through it. And that, once we look at, if we can have a bit of a shift away from that daunting feeling that I'm in this alone and I've got no support and it's me against the world, and move into a place, and sure, make sure that it's safe and that you feel comfortable here doing that. And if you do, then jump in all feet first, head first, whatever, and realize that the feelings that you're all feeling, whether it be having a difficult time getting in front of the camera, can't press that post button, whatever it is, or whatever the issues that you're having with your spouse, and the mistrust or the misunderstanding, or whatever's happening, we all have gone through it. Not each person, everything, but the collective experience of the community here has gone through it, and we've survived, and many have thrived.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's just, I think it's a matter of, as an entrepreneur, whether you're wanting to start something kind of on the side, or you're full in, wherever you're at, like it's still that daily kind of battle. And like you said, it doesn't matter whether it's your first video that didn't do well or your 5,000, you still feel like, oh
Yeah,
God, what did I do wrong? Why don't they
totally.
like this one? Like,
Well,
this
and
one
the
was gonna
problem
be
with
it.
getting, like, my experience has been, like, I started doing this in my 20s, and now I just turned 39, so I'm older. And I don't know if I'm wiser or slower and dumber. I don't know. I don't know. They say you get old, but so as you get older, different things, you change, and the most important thing is to embrace yourself where you're at. Because if you live your whole life, when I get to this place, or when I'm ready, or I'll get started when I feel like I know, that is the death of your life. It's the death of your business, because you're never going to be fully ready. you're only going to get older and get slower probably, or grayer, or burn more brain cells. So it's like, we trick ourselves into the, and I think this is one of the most common things that I've heard, and you tell me if you've experienced this, but I want to get started as an affiliate marketer, and maybe one day I'll create my own either course, coaching program, or event. But even as an affiliate marketer, I feel like I want to know some stuff, and I just don't feel like I know enough to start, really creating content and getting started. So I'm gonna, and that is there's a truth in that. And usually the way that we deceive ourselves to procrastinate and prolong things is we say things that are most kind of true. It's like, oh, I could know more. I could learn more. I'm not really there yet and ready to start creating content and et cetera. But the truth of the matter is that you'll never be ready. If
Right.
if you continue down that picking yourself apart, then you'll never be ready. You'll never be ready to, I can name off the things that most of us want to do in life, but you'll never be ready to do those things. And it's just that what I realized is that a lot of my patterns and ways that I approach things were similar. So I had similar things that I said to myself also in other areas. I wanted to take my marriage to a different place. I wanted to take my fatherhood to I wanted to do all these things, but I had a similar story no matter where I went. It was always kind of shame, don't feel good enough, feel like an imposter, you know what I mean? Feel like I got to be somebody else and can't really be myself. Yes, me. This is my story. And always, and thank God, I just had, I guess, enough audacity or enough, just plain ignorance to just kind of ask for forgiveness later instead of permission at the beginning. But I still struggle with that, all those imposter syndrome feelings. Those are just my own unique ones. What resonates with you when I say imposter syndrome? What comes up for you? Is there any particular part of your business or thing that you do that really brings it out? And what are the feelings and what does it look like for you?
Yeah. So I think the first thing that came to my head is when I think that maybe not that I'm not good enough, but that I'm not bold enough. I'm not being controversial enough, and that's why this person's doing well and I'm not. Or the week I'm in, like, well, this just sucks. Like, and I'm horrible. I mean, I still have that time. Like, I never should have done this. Because I think it's all there. Some of it is maybe what you're looking at and seeing through whatever your influences are, but then I think most of it's just that battle that you have in your head. And I think that, honestly, for those of you out there, it doesn't matter whether it's your business or you're still working, in a 9 to 5 or whatever, you're going to find imposter syndrome everywhere. So if you are experiencing that, but still on the fence of should I get started? I don't know enough. It doesn't matter really, because you should just do it. Like, you should just move forward anyway, because the time's going to pass. And if you were going to go for a new job, um, you'd have to you couldn't come into the interview with your new position with all of these ideas of why it's not going to work out,
Yeah.
because they're not going to give you the job. So in your business, I think it's the same. Like,
Yeah.
feel it, that's okay, but move past it
Well,
every day.
let me do some live coaching right here. I see a message. We've got Irfan here. Welcome to the show, Irfan. Welcome to Legendary. He says, I am still confused. I'm going to put his comment up here on the thing. I am stuck in the middle and don't know what to do. Well, look, I don't know your exact situation, but what I know is if you're stuck in the middle, keep going. Finish what it is that you're doing. If you're confused and you're stuck in the middle, then keep going. Well, I don't know how, or this or that, or somebody's stopping me. Well, part of being an entrepreneur is becoming resourceful. identifying what is stopping me from going forward. Do I need to send an email to somebody? Do I need to is there something that I need to do on my side? So I need to understand what do I have power and control over? What can I actually, because you're never stuck. You're actually not stuck. You're free. You could do anything you want. You could leave.
Yep.
I mean, if I was stuck somewhere and it was actually somebody else's fault why I was stuck, I would just leave. I would just be like, well, I'm going to go do something else. But if you're honest and say, well, am I stuck because of something I'm not doing, something I'm afraid to do? Is there an email I'm not sending? Is there a call I'm not making? I mean, we can define stuck in so many ways. It can be mental, or it can be actually something that we physically feel like I'm stuck. I can't log into the back office. It's like, no, you're not stuck. Did you use the password reset tool, which
Right.
is the thing that you click right under where it says, did you forget your password? This is a universal thing. And you would not believe, Johnny, how many people, you know, complain or they feel that they got scammed because they bought a digital product, the logins were emailed to them, and just they didn't make that connection, and
Yeah.
then they don't know how to click on a link, and then it's just all confusing. So it's like, well, hold on a second, I'm confused, this is new, but let me sit here for a second and try to figure this out. And
Right.
that's where I see the massive gap between, like, how successful we are as a community and how successful we could be, is like, it's not the secrets. It's not, it's the simple things that, until you as an entrepreneur master, like, or even start to practice those simple little being resourceful. Like, do you know how to use a password reset tool? Like, it's something that's so simple, and understanding just basic things about, like, most websites and most membership sites nowadays. Just those basic things go so far. And wow, damn, maybe I'm not stuck. Now we can begin to shift your perspective for you feeling like you're stuck to realizing that you're not stuck. You're never stuck. And you don't have to keep feeling stuck. The other one is, I'm struggling. I'm stuck and I'm struggling. And the other thing is, the more that we say that out loud, the more it's real to us, the more we believe it. Whose voice is more powerful than your own? For you, the first most powerful voice was the voice that you heard when you were a little child that you don't remember, that began to form belief systems. But the second most powerful voice is the voice that we hear both in our head, but especially when we say things out loud, because now we've made them real. Does that make sense? And Johnny, what comes up for you? I hope that was helpful to you, Ifron or Irfan, and I hope that you take that and know that you're powerful, and know that you're capable, and know that you're not stuck, and that you can get out of any situation by most of the time just keep moving, do something. And in this moment, you reached out, you left a comment, you got some feedback, right? And so there's a takeaway in that, just that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, anyways. Johnny, what's coming up for you, brother?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's interesting because I've used those words before, even just at different times in my life. And I think, like you said, when it's in your mind and you're telling yourself something that you're going to start believing, just think what happens to the rest of your day. Are you all of a sudden struggling, like in your household? Does it feel negative? Did
Yeah.
you stub your toe on that? Like, then whatever you're working on broke. Like, it can kind of trickle down, but so could thinking differently about it. So it's not just about your mind and only thinking positive things and that's going to fix everything. But,
Yeah.
if you know the rabbit hole you can go down with the word you're speaking, why not give yourself better words and then take action? Just take action. I mean, it's even in my business as simple as I'm feeling stuck and I can't create new content. So should I just not do anything? No, I'm going to go back to a video I've posted before and I'll just change the music, change the comments, and I'll repost
Yeah.
it. and I
Yeah.
feel good. And I give
Yeah.
myself a pat on the back. I did it.
Well, and nowadays, one of the benefits of being a part of a community like this, where there's so many at this point, folks. I mean, our competitors are coming and watching our free content for God's sakes, because there's so much of it. There's so much. There's so many resources here within this company and community. Um, it's your resourcefulness, and owning that and being honest about that is so empowering. It will make you more money to own all of your shortcomings and understand them. I see so many men, and this is insane to me because most of them are from a previous generation and they're broke. They have no weaknesses, no shortcomings. Nobody should disrespect me by pointing out that I have any weaknesses, and I don't want to talk about my weaknesses. I don't even want to. And it's like, well, if I know my weaknesses, then I can stay in my lane. You know what I mean? And I don't have to keep going in all these. And you know what the freeing thing for me is, Johnny? Is that I go places and I just tell people I don't know shit. Like I went out on a fishing boat in Turks and Caicos, and I've been fishing most of my life and love to fish. I'm an avid boater. I have my own boat, but I just said I'm in foreign waters, dude. I have no idea what I'm doing. I didn't get on their boat and be like, "Oh, give me that fucking pole," and get up there like an asshole. I just it's been so helpful to me, but I had to learn that kind of, you know, a lot on my own, and it's helped me be successful. Because it's helped me to know my weaknesses and own them, and and then I can get help. And why am I bringing that up? Because in a community, when you're learning a new skill, and you're going through a process of starting something new, um, you're going to have to be okay with your humanness. You'll be okay with your humanness.
Yeah.
There's going to be some shortcomings. There's going to be some things that you're not the greatest at, and if you drill yourself or worst, try to act like you don't suck at it. It's just so painful, and you can't get the help that you need. And I mean painful because that ego, oh,
Mm,
in that it's a bitch, isn't it?
it
But
is.
what has it been like for you to be new at something, being the volleyball coach, being the consultant, the professional? What has it been like for you to ha- get humble, maybe, or be new, or how have you learned more about your limitations and actually acknowledge them so you can then receive some help, some training? What comes up for you around this question?
I mean, I think just in my career and careers I've been part of, it's just a matter of knowing that I don't know it all, and that it's okay to get the feedback and then just to be willing to ask for the feedback. But then I think sometimes I see too often people are always asking for feedback on everything they do and
Good point.
every video, and I get it. Like you want it, I understand. But at some point, like you just got to get a string of things going through, take the feedback as it comes. Occasionally, analyze it, identify it, but then don't be afraid if you really do feel like, I'm just not where I want to be, and I need to get to the next place. Because I think something, I don't know how this will relate to you guys, but and gals, but when I was first started coaching collegiate volleyball, I was big on just saying lots of things. So as we were going through the practices, I was using all sorts of words, and the head coach at the time stopped me and he said, "Less is more. Less is more. We can't keep stopping our practice for you to have a 5 minute explanation.
Yeah.
Practice can continue." And so I would say that for you and your business and the things that you want to work on can continue. You don't always have to stop to figure it out and move forward. Just keep, like, there's no reason you couldn't not do videos, or you could not send an email, or could not post something. I mean, physically, if something happened to you, I get it.
Yeah.
while you're figuring it out. And that's just where I was, because I had never done anything on camera like this uh, before starting. It was, I'll post a picture of my kid or my family, but so it's new to me, and I get frustrated just like anybody else gets frustrated, figuring out what works and what doesn't, what sticks and what doesn't, and the stuff that you want to stick and it doesn't, it pisses you off. And then, it's just all part of the game, I
Yeah.
think, that you just have to go through. And you can't go through it if you never keep going. You can't
Yeah.
go through it if you don't start, and you can't go through it if you don't just keep doing it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I love your point, which was a kind of a contrasting point, which is that sometimes we get a tendency to just be paralyzed until permission. And maybe we could write that down. Don't be paralyzed until permission. Just fail forward.
yeah.
Um, because ultimately, I'll be honest with all of you, as somebody who's been in a role of somebody who's giving a lot of feedback over the years. It's frustrating to give feedback to somebody who's done nothing. It just is. So, I mean, if you haven't done literally anything, and you've kind of got a like why is this not working kind of attitude, it doesn't make somebody want to help you more. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not talking about like me. I'm just talking about in life in general. I've been in a lot of circles where, and I think life is like this too. Nobody's going to help you unless you're helping yourself. That's just how life works. It doesn't matter where, what, when. If you're just if you're doing absolutely I mean, even the guy flying a sign got his ass out on the side of the road. I give him something for that. I give a guy a buck, because I'd say, fuck, I'd want a beer if I was you too, you know. But nobody wants to help somebody who's not helping themselves. And so as a student, it's important to understand also how to be a great student, how to be a great mentee. And the way to be a great mentee is to, I mean, if you really want to talk about, this is why I don't like the words. I don't use mentor, I mean, it's great marketing words. But the truth is that there's not a real mentee mentor relationship in most of internet marketing, because both sides are not committed in the way that they need to be. For what I'm talking about, coming from sports. An
Hmm.
athlete an athlete who goes and plays for a high school or college team or whatever, that athlete is likely playing their ass off, man. I mean, I was watching the movie Hustle, the new Adam Sandler movie Hustle, on the flight home yesterday, and seeing that athlete and the way he was working made Adam Sandler, who was his kind of like his agent or the guy who found him, like it just made they were each getting up earlier than the other in the morning, what I mean, waking each other up, giving because they were fired up. And that's if we only realized how inspirational it is when we see, like, if me personally, when I see somebody working their ass off and trying and stuff, I want to help them a million times more than if they're just complaining and not doing anything. And so it's also about how to get what you want as a student. Like if I go into, like I've got a therapist, I've got one therapist I see here locally and one I travel. I'm part of a group. I've got other people um, that I look to for advice, or that I'm learning different things from. And my goal is always to try to like really take the knowledge that they're sharing and put it to use. That's how I respect myself and respect them. And so, it's you know, going back to your point about it can be just as damaging to be sitting around and not be willing to do anything until somebody like comes in and gives you permission, or
Hmm.
until somebody says that's the exact right thing you should do. It's
Hmm.
like none of us had somebody sitting next to us saying, that's the exact right thing you should do. Every single person that's successful took unbelievable risk with their own ego and their own reputation. And like all that's why success is earned, not given. What comes up for you, coach, around that?
I just think if you were starting any business and everybody did it exactly the same way, like it was the same way, then you'd have to think, how could I separate myself from somebody else? You can only do that by being you, because you're going to find things that are similar. And so I think when I think of a team and how we would build a team, I may have two or three players that are vying for the same position. And in preseason, we're trying to figure out who's going to get that position. And then all throughout the season, if you're not meeting the criteria, you may get bumped in. So
Yeah.
you're still gonna be putting in the effort because it's what you want, what's your end goal. You're working so hard to be whatever, that thing is. And I think for a business owner, and just to think about it from that frame of mind, is if you're running a business, you have to run a business. And so how does that work? There's going to be times where if you want to run such and such business and you never wanted to get down in the plumbing, but you're out there getting started and you got to get your hands dirty. There's
Yeah.
stuff that you just have to do.
As a
And
restaurant owner, you got to get in there
right,
and clean the toilets.
right.
Nobody's going to
Yeah,
come
yeah,
clean the toilets for you unless you call them and pay them. But
right.
if you own the business, it's nobody else's responsibility. You can't that'd be like if I'm a restaurant owner and I haven't cleaned the bathroom or pay anybody to clean the bathroom, and a customer comes in and then they say the bathroom is really dirty, and I go, how dare you say that? How dare you say, you know what I mean? And they're like, okay, I'm not coming back here. They don't care. So we create all these shitty situations by, and that's what I'm trying to teach my kids, is that, like, for example, when they start whining or they start, like, you know what I mean? Like having a temper tantrum or something. I don't ever say bad boy or bad girl. I say, that's not how to get what you want.
Right.
That's not how to get what you want. Let me teach you how to get what you want. So I teach them about negotiating against me. Give me a counter. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't want to go to bed right now? Let's talk about this and
Yeah.
and give me some effort. Don't just lay on the ground and pound your fist, because as a human being, nobody's going to sit around unless you literally are that person's parent and deal with that. There's just too many people and too many things in the world to do. So as entrepreneurs, I have to take ownership over my training, and then I have to take ownership over my business when I launch it. Nobody's going to come wake me up to make the videos. Nobody's going to give me an injection of inspiration or creativity. I got to put in the same work that everybody else put in to get to that place that I want to get to. And back to your point about I can accomplish much more than I think. What happens is those weeks and months go by because you're actually doing shit and you're busy. And before you know it, you come up for air. No, you're not rich, but you've had a couple of, $1,000 days or $1,000 weeks, or, maybe you've done more. You look back over the last 12 months, you go, son of a bitch,
Right.
I've actually accomplished some stuff.
Right. No, it's exactly right. I mean, when I had my blog, I looked back a year later and I said, oh, I have 50 blog articles. I didn't make anything. But then now, as I'm reframing my mind, I think, yeah, but I wrote a lot of good stuff, and I can use that in some of my email campaigns that
Right in
I'm
this
running
moment,
now.
that's happening for you right in this moment.
Exactly. So it's
Wow.
been, 4-year-old articles I wrote. I don't even have the domain anymore, but I still
Yeah,
have the material. So why not use
right.
some of that same material? So it wasn't a waste, but
That's a
I still,
reframe what you just did.
right,
Reframe. You put that same picture just into a different frame, and it's like, that's a totally different picture now.
right. Yeah. And we can do that anytime we choose.
Yeah.
It's all up to us to choose to
Yeah.
do it.
Well, give us one tip about how you got started with your marketing. What's been something that's been working for you over the last weeks or months that you would attribute, hey, I started going live, or I started doing this in my, is there anything that, you could point to and say, hey, test this out, folks. who are listening this morning, try this out. It's not a guarantee, but this was a tweak, even an example of a change that you made, or a teachable moment. What would you attribute some of your success to over the recent weeks or months?
I think in terms of doing videos, TikTok was something that I had never even downloaded, and I thought, I'll just start with that. And so I tried a lot of things, tried to learn from others that have done similar content and make stuff of my own. But I think what I needed most was just the practice, how to record a video and stop it and edit it to even, not without having to buy software, like how to do it. And so something that I did is I purchased a book that was all about side hustles. And I went through every chapter of the book just to make like 30 pieces of content, and each content was like, I don't know,
Yeah.
20 seconds. And that helped
Good for
me
you.
get comfortable being on the camera. Did I get millions of views on those? No, I didn't. But I got audience members, I got people on my email, list, and if nothing else, it was all for me to just get the practice that I
Thank
needed.
you. Thank you, coach, because we often we don't discount it in athletics, but we do in business, man. We do in social media, in this era of kind of fast money, cryptocurrency side. You're seeing an ad every somebody. We're all getting rich on the internet. It seems like, and it's not true, and B, it requires practice just like anything else. If you're going to win a championship, if you're going to go to the playoffs, if you're going to have a good season, it's because you practiced, man. It's because you were ready for the game. And I love that you point that out, because how often do we discount what we did because it didn't just get one result, which was maybe money or something, but all of the other things, how comfortable you are on camera, how you learn the app. Ladies, is there anybody on here who knows how to do like crochet or anything, or any sewing or anything, something that's any craftsmen or woodworkers or people that do unique things with your hands, or any tools? Anybody ever had to learn how to use a drill or a hammer? Listen, I got carpenters who are still learning how to use nail guns. I had a guy not too long ago, big buddy of mine, was on a ladder and nailing with a hand with a and he missed it and came around and shot himself in the chest.
Oh God.
No shit. It was
My gosh.
crazy. So anyways, he's still learning how to use that tool. But my point is that, folks, these are all tools. For example, your editing apps, or even an app like TikTok nowadays, it's a tool you do need to spend a certain amount of time on to just learn how to use it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
No.
It's normal. You're going to be an absolute idiot on it at the beginning. You're not going to know anything. You're just going to you're going to feel so stupid. And we all did, and still do. I thank God for whatever sort of, I have some special thing that I think I was born with that makes it easier for me to be an idiot in front of other people. Because, I've just been willing to just kind of go out on a limb. Um, and I've been burned so many times, but it's just been the most profitable skill I've ever think I was either, maybe I developed it, I don't know. Maybe I developed it in sports when I can kick my ass out onto the field and I had no choice. They were like, well, you're batting fourth. And it was like, oh my God,
Right.
start sweating and, having night terrors and everything because I'm, pitching a game or whatever. But, maybe it was sports that taught me how to get out there, but just taking that step and realizing, hey, I gotta learn this tool. I gotta learn this craft. I'm gonna suck at it. And oh shit, now I'm not a kid anymore. I don't have a coach who's standing over. And that's not what a coach in this business is either. Could you touch on that before we wrap, about this expectation of, kind of coaching and even consulting for a lot of people who think that, it is hand holding, and what they need is hand holding. When in reality, my experience is hand holding is way too close to enabling. It's not what I need. I need to be pushed to do two things. Number one, to realize that I have inside what I need to be successful. And number two, that in order for me to become successful, I'm going to have to be the one who practices the skills. And I'm not going to be able to, it doesn't happen by osmosis. It's not something I can just, it's not like religion or maybe spirit, where you accept something and now you're good. Yeah, I mean, I'm just keeping it real. Hat throw up. Come on now, people. Yeah, this ain't baptism and I ain't your Lord and Savior. You got to work that ass.
Yeah.
That's a fact, Jack. That's a fact, Jack. Anyways, Coach, I'm rambling at this point.
Yeah.
But bring us home. What are your
Yeah.
final thoughts on your journey here, and what people need to hear from you, or what you need to say in order to for us to wrap up, and for you to, I want you to be I hope you're proud of yourself too, man, because it's a wonderful accomplishment when you just decide to take on something new. That's where the magic is. It's not that you're an entrepreneur. It's not that you're this. It's not that you're that. I'm nothing. I'm just a guy who just decides to do some new shit. And none of us have any idea where something is going to take us when we get started. We have no clue. And so obviously congrats on your success. And I'm sure there's much more of that coming your way. And congrats on being, willing as a like me, a middle-aged guy, basically, to try something new, dude,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just so grateful to be here. First off, so thanks for having me. But I would just say, I think just overall, wherever you're at in life, I do go live on my TikToks, and I always end it with, after going through what I talk about, you know, there's no perfect career or your own job that's just you'll never have something that doesn't tick you off about, or something that just doesn't get inside of you and make you angry. You got to remember that above all, you're a human being, and that is important. You have people that love you, that depend on you, that that need you. So hang on to that. While you're hanging on to that, try some stuff. Get started. And if you have to get restarted, just do it. And then
absolutely.
put the blinders on and just say, for 90 days. If you can't do 90, say 30. Heck, just say a week. This
Say
week
30
say
seconds. I'm going to get
sure, right,
through the next 30 seconds.
right, finish this and go post something, go write an email, and just send it. Because if you don't take that step to get the momentum, you'll never learn what it is that you need to learn to get better at whatever it is that you're trying to do. So whatever
Yep.
your focus is, just put the work in, and be encouraged that it's okay to put the work in and feel crappy about it. It's okay to not have any desire or motivation to do it and do it anyway. It's okay to feel fantastic and do it. Like, feel the emotions, but do it anyway, no matter what it is.
Well said. Well, brother, listen, thanks for coming on. Thanks for doing what you do, and letting us hop in on the journey with you, and come back and see me on a follow-up episode if you would.
Would love it.
All right, Johnny. Take care,
All right.
Coach.
Bye.
See you, buddy. All right, my friends. I want to shout out Christina for the massive courage on this comment. Rescheduled my appointment with the advisor due to no confidence, but can't walk away. New day tomorrow. Let's work through this. Golly. That gets me fired up. I don't care who you are. If that doesn't get you fired up, you better go check your pulse. Because, this is about that. Millions of micro moments like that. Millions of micro moments just like that. We all have them. Our life is full of them. Trust me. I may look confident in this scenario, but be totally, lacking in confidence in something else that I'm doing. I mean, be okay with your humanness, people. You're starting something new. You're not going to walk in like Mr. T, pitying no fools, but don't pity yourself either, because you're not a fool. You're somebody who's courageous and powerful because you're starting something new. Embrace that. Focus on that. Fail forward. Be legendary. We'll see you back here for another episode tomorrow.